everybody. This is the ASMR. Okay. I'm just going to be doing some little practices, like little seams, really just learning certain brush strokes, just enjoying moving my brush and my pencil and pens. So feel free to get your stuff out and have fun. This is about relaxing, having fun. This is not about perfect art. Okay, just have fun. So I'm doing some little mini scenes because I feel like when you're new at something, it's important not to waste supplies. Like you can waste, but don't waste too fast. So I was looking at this lady. She was doing an abstract painting exercise, and what I found out, when you feel creatively blocked, you probably need to do something that's totally opposite of what you're doing. So it's like, for example, if you feel creative burnout or creatively blocked and you're doing detailed portraits, you probably need to do something that's not detailed. Even though that may seem ridiculous because you're primarily a detailed artist, it's almost like you've been cracking a whip on your muse and your muse needs to rest in that specific genre. So I'm looking at this lady's abstracts, and I think her abstracts are so cool. Look at her abstracts, y'all. They're just so cool. So I want to get into doing abstracts. So here's how she started her scene with the brown, and she's using some sort of card, but I think I'm going to be bold enough to actually use a flat brush. But I think I'm gonna change the colors. She started with brown in the bottle, so I think I'm gonna start mine with red. I'm gonna change the colors. I'm gonna do something similar to change the colors. Yeah, I think great art is created through taking risks. So I'm gonna take a risk of some kind. Now in this picture, she does spray some water on the paper. So I'm gonna have to get my water pistol. I didn't realize it that she sprays the paper first. So let me go get my little spray bottle here. That was under here. Okay, we'll go upstairs and get it. Okay, I got my spray bottle, everybody. I might do an ink wash, like a wet ink, or I may do it in all black and see how my strokes are, then do it again in color. We'll see. So we're gonna get to her tutorial. Y'all, it is humid in here. Okay. So y'all can listen to her. Colors that I use. The exercise is by Jean Larson Watercolor. She's on YouTube if y'all want to check her out. Okay. Okay, so she sprays. She's not going too heavy, I notice. So She does start off with some brown. I think I'm gonna start off with green. Yeah, with maybe a little bit of green in the brown. Okay. I know she's moving pretty fast because I guess she doesn't want her paper to dry. See, when you're doing tutorials, you still have to make sure your paper don't dry as you're studying how they're doing it. Okay, I see what she's doing. She's using that cord because it allows her to get in a little bit thicker. I do probably should take this down. I'm trying not to fill it in anywhere because that would be me trying to control it. I'm just gonna pull. Okay, what does she do? I think she dabbed it though. I don't know. I'm getting tired of all these cords in my way. It's a lot of cords around me, y'all, and it's like an accident waiting to happen. So she does put a little bit of. I should have just did it probably with the credit card the way she's doing it. And I think she kind of whitewashes it like that. And I've noticed that she smooths. I guess she smooth it down a little bit. I'm not gonna try to fix it, y'all, because I feel like that's trying to control it. Okay. I don't know what that's supposed to be right there, but I think maybe. So I'm thinking about like remembering whether I put water on the brush already. Because I think that's what she's doing. Like there's certain parts where she's overloading the water. Let me see. Went a little blurry. I want to add a little bit of red to it. Now, what did she put on the top? Okay, she had. So I put. She said she was like whatever is on the bottom, she also added on the top. So it's supposed to be an abstract. It's not supposed to. I guess not supposed to look perfect. That's what she was saying. If I had more room, this table is so crowded, y'all. It's shocking how crowded it actually is. I have to find a way to get more room here. I'm thinking about how the picture's actually playing out as well. It came out kind of weird. Um, I just did an abstract. I don't even know what I what I was doing, y'all. But this is like a bit of an experiment. It's almost like it's giving an illusion that there's grass in different places. There's actually um, this brush ain't the best brush. So I'll switch to see what we get when I switch to this one. But it's like kind of like a dry brush. I don't even know. I think sometimes art is just finding your way when you're doing it. It's not like you're, yeah. Hey, what is that noise over there? Y'all y'all cutting up when I'm in here. Why y'all always doing that? Like, I swear, kitty cats or something else. Hold on, maybe. I don't even know what this is. Guess intuitive. I don't know what happened right there, but I'm gonna see what I can do to cover it up. I don't know what that could be right there, but we'll figure it out. Some, something was already on the paper. I see because I didn't put that mark there, but I just did a little abstract. It's not supposed to look like anything particular. I just felt like painting, and that was the thing. A little bit of water. I see that you still got to keep in mind where the sun where. So it's gonna be. I'm trying to make it where it doesn't look so obvious. Like it's not that particular. I am considering the shapes that I'm making as I'm doing some of this art. It's supposed to be like an abstract. It's supposed to, I guess, make somebody feel something. That's what I'm going with. And just putting what I want on the paper according to how I feel. And I'm trying to work within this little page here because I'm trying to save paper, y'all, and just kind of have fun um with the with the colors. I didn't even know I was gonna do this, y'all. This came as a surprise. Maybe I'll make it a little bit bolder right there. It's to show the water is this paper is not the best paper, but well, I had fun with that, y'all. I'm gonna leave it alone. Here we go. It's supposed to be an abstract, but I do want to define. I want to just define the little rock there. Whatever I did there, I felt like I wanted to maybe. Uh, don't quite know what that is. It's just some weird shape of something there. Here we go. I could put like mm, I was practicing dry, wet, wet, and then dry on wet to see what would happen. Okay, that was fun. So I didn't do my background like she did hers. She didn't do no. She really didn't do much dry on watercolor wet. She didn't do that. Hers is just pretty much all wet. I decided to kind of do it my way. Now, here's this one with these buildings here. So I don't know if I could do this, but I think I'm gonna do it more as I think I'm just gonna go with the flow. I think I'm not gonna actually draw the picture and just see if I could just do it all by hand. Of course that's more bold, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try this here. This building here. I might use some illustration pens. I don't know. Let me see here. Yeah, they're working with all pens. I don't think I want to just do all pens. It's a whole lot of windows they doing. Look at this building they doing. It's ridiculous, look. I think I'm just gonna do maybe a little shop and a little building on the side. I think I'm gonna think about a place that I've been to and see how that work, how that go. But let's see here. We'll use this pencil. This water needs to be dumped out. For some of y'all who are just tuning in, I just kind of had fun. Then I did this one, having some fun there with brush strokes, dry and wet. So, so let me see here. I think I'm not even going. I think I'm not going to get so bold with the. I'm trying to think how I want to go about this one. Woo, yeah. Okay. I think I'm gonna just kind of wet the here. I think I'm just going to kind of. I think I'm gonna just do like abstract. It's raining, y'all. Y'all hear it? I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get some of the road done. This is supposed to be like a little road, like where the people are walking. But I don't want to make it so neat. I want it to actually look. Um. So since I'm gonna leave that side light, I'll have the light coming from over there. And since it is coming, Hansi, y'all do this every time I paint. What is your problem? Y'all don't like no one else to get my attention. I'm gonna put you in another room, Baba. Yeah, you don't want to paint, Baba. You do not want to paint. Okay. Y'all, I hope it hold up. I'm just thinking about like when I'm doing like when you see people in the streets. Like I just want on 30 there. Hansi, nope, you're going in the other room. Let's go. Let's go. Nope, nope, no, no. Come on, in here. Ed. He's messing me up, y'all. But I need this bottom part to dry, so I'm not gonna fill in the spots, but I will just make some of this softer in the distance. Yeah. Okay. So this is gonna be the challenging part, y'all, where I'm doing some people. I might go over this some more with some black, but we'll see what happens here. So I have to do some people. Y'all, they done ran off. The cats then ran off with the cap to my paint. Oh, my other paint. Hans, I can't do nothing about that thunderstorm, y'all. He's freaking out. I can't do nothing about it. Okay. I don't know if I should use my illustration pens or what. Okay, I'm just gonna wing it, y'all. Oh, that's white. I don't know white. I thought that was black. All right, this is the tedious part. So I'm basically thinking about Hansi, please don't jump on me, baby. The cats are jumping on me over and over again. Literally jumping on my legs. Y'all know that could be irritating when you're trying to do some artwork. I'm about to put Hansi in the other room, y'all, with the cat gate up if he continue, because that's ridiculous. Try not to put my hand on the page. You might lose connection, y'all, because it's storming bad. Y'all hear that? I'm gonna have to check the tornado report just to make sure there's no tornado coming. I'm not trying to be perfect. Just having fun. It's nice and quiet. Y'all can hear the thunderstorm. I can't stay in the lines anymore. My hands are not as stable as they used to be. I will go over it again, the lines in the middle. Hans, don't jump on me, but okay, enough is enough. I cannot control that weather. I can't, but Hans is freaking out in here. I don't even know if I'm doing this right. And y'all, I'm just like, gosh. I wish child, that I'm kind of letting the painting also tell me where it wants me to take it. So y'all, it is like I don't know. That's a little bit too much. It didn't got watery. I actually wanted it like I'm getting so messy in here. This really is turning into a studio. Woo, child. I'm trying not to like do it exactly because when you it's almost like I'm trying to let the child thunderstorming. This is an absolute. This is y'all. Woo, child! I hope it ain't about to be a tornado. I might have to go check in a minute. Woo. I don't even know what this is, but y'all, I call myself doing a person. Y'all, I'm gonna have to go downstairs. It sounds like it's about to be tornado or something. Y'all hear that? That was horrible just now. My electricity is about to go out. Kitty cats. Okay, y'all. So I had to hurry up and get done. This is just something that I did. I don't know what it was exactly. I guess it's just kind of like in expressionism and all that. Let me go check the weather report because I don't want to be in here doing art and tornado comment. Okay. Let me see. I'll be right back. Let me just make sure it's not for this area. Okay. I think it'll come through my phone even if there is. So that's pretty bad. It says severe. It says none at this time. Okay, I had to check the weather report. I want to do some fruit, y'all. So next, I want to do fruit. It's a rainy day, the perfect day to do your watercolors. How to watercolor paint. Y'all can look at the picture while I'm waiting, while I'm looking. Watercolor paint fruit. I want to do like white page abstract. Reverse. It's called reverse watercolor painting. I guess you kind of, damn. So I'm looking at how this lady says to do reverse watercolor here. This is the one I was trying to practice again, but I wanted to do it in on little pieces. There she goes.
The object that we're painting, fully painting it. Have you ever heard of reverse coloring? Well, in today's video, we are going to talk about what reverse coloring is and how to make it actually look good using watercolor and color pencils. Okay, so you need watercolor paper. You need watercolor paper for this design. Even cellulose paper works really well with reverse coloring. I am using a bigger round brush, a size 10. I'm using my limited palette of watercolors, cad yellow, magenta, cerulean, indigo.
Okay, I got a size 10.
And then for the color pencils, I am using Lyra watercolor pencils, but you can use color pencils, pastels, watercolor pencils, even pen, anything that adds extra lines after you do.
I think I might use pen.
I thought this would be the perfect time
or illustration.
Themed designs. So
yeah, I'm gonna use some illustration with this one.
And I want to talk you through some of the main concepts of reverse coloring. And there's a few different ways you can do reverse coloring. My way is not the only way. I've been doing it this way for years when I want to do sketchbook practices or keep sketchy. It's a perfect technique for card making, for beginners. Anybody can do this technique and it always looks good in the end. Okay, so here at the top I am painting a daffodil, but you don't want to paint a daffodil. You want to choose the main colors in a daffodil and do daffodil-esque shapes that do not turn necessarily into a daffodil. So for the trumpet, I put down the orangey red color, but I didn't really fill in the gaps because when we add our lines later, we love white space. White space is your friend with reverse coloring.
I don't understand. Like I did it right last time. All of a sudden, I don't remember this brush stroke. Let's try this again,
of
y'all.
the flower. We can even add too many petals. We can just do a big blob of yellow and then add the petals with the
That's
lines
actually
later as
right.
well. For the
I'll
leaf, I
leave that.
did do a more exact, and I want to talk you through some of the main concepts of reverse coloring. And there's a few different ways you can do reverse coloring. My way is not the only way. I've been doing it this way for years. When I want to do sketchbook practices or keep something really sketchy, it's a perfect technique for card making for beginners. Anybody can do this technique, and it always looks good in the end. Okay, so here at the top, I am painting a daffodil, but you don't want to paint a daffodil. You want to choose the main colors in a daffodil and do daffodil-esque shapes that do not turn
Okay, so she said S
daffodil.
shapes.
So for the trumpet, I put down the orangey red color, but I didn't really fill in the gaps because when we add our lines later, we love white space. White space is your friend with reverse coloring. You don't need to fill in all of the spaces or the gaps. You're giving the idea and the emotion of the flower. We can even add too many petals. We can just do a big blob of yellow and then add the petals with the lines later as well. For the leaf, I did do a more exact leaf in color. It's a little bit of a wonky shape, but we're going to do a lot of the shadows and the detail and the line work with the added lines later. So I would just keep everything very simple if you're doing an exact flower like a daffodil. Here for this pink, I'm just using all different colors of pink, purple, magenta, reds, and kind of laying them in a random pattern on the paper. You can add water to create interest. We want different layers of values and depth. So really high pigmented areas, really watery areas, and areas where you feel like there should be something, but we're not going to paint anything there because that's another place we're going to add line detail. The flowers on this one are very abstract. I'm not sure where they're going. They could be sweet peas, but then I didn't do the right greenery for sweet peas, and that's okay. We don't necessarily need to know where they're going in the watercolor layer because the lines will make everything make sense
She said,
later. And then this one down here, I was imagining a delphinium type shape, but I don't want to create a delphinium. I want to create blobs of color
that one
that,
turned out
like I said
pretty.
before, give interest and
I
a little
like
bit of
how
shape,
different
but
that
we
one
also
turned
want
out.
color and values. We want darker values, which means more pigment, and we want areas with lighter values, which means more water. And we can have areas where it's pretty much only water, but when it touches the other areas of high pigment, we get these nice bleeds and blends. This is the place in the painting where we want to experiment with
She said random shapes. I didn't know she meant that.
so keep that in mind while you're painting. What do you want to put down here in watercolor? Keep it light because a lot of the darker details will come from the lines that we add later. This can be a really hard practice because we are used to painting and filling in a space to create the object and fully painting it, maybe leaving some white space or some areas that are artistic lines, but not most of it. But I think it's okay because the looseness and the lines allows for the creativity to emerge. Make this your first to add colors on the paper.
It's raining.
I've already said, make sure you add those. Make the lines that you add later better. So the technique that I'm using for reverse coloring is I add really sketchy, loose, blobby shapes to my watercolor paper in watercolor. And I let it completely dry, and then I add my colored pencils over the top. In this case, I will be using watercolor pencils only because I feel like the texture works really well with watercolor paper. But you can use almost anything. Crayons, like we talked about before, pastels, pen, um, colored pencils, regular colored pencils. So it's totally up to you.
I like that little ball
So
thing
keep
she
that in
does at
mind
the
while you're
top.
painting. What do you want to put
And
down
she
here?
said make an S, so
Keep
that's
it
where I
light
went
because a
wrong.
lot of
It
the
has to
darker
be an
details will
S.
come from the lines that we add later.
Yeah, she said an S. Looks like it kind of like an S.
Object, fully painting it, maybe leaving some white space or some areas that are artistic on the ends, but not most of it. But I think it's a really important practice in looseness and leaving things alone. So the goal is going to be to make the fewest strokes possible, to add colors that bleed and blend, and make sure you have differences in values, darker values and light values, which I've already said. Make sure you have those. It will make your lines that you add later look better. So the technique that I use for reverse coloring is I add really sketchy, loose, blobby shapes to my watercolor paper in watercolor, and I let it completely
Yeah.
dry, and then I add my
So I did some little practices here. I'm going to go over it with some. Um, I noticed she is. I don't even know what some of that is, but she said it don't matter.
You can add water to create interest. You want different layers of values and depth. So really high pigmented areas, really watery areas, and areas where you feel like there should be something, but we're not going to paint there because that's another place we're going to add line detail. The flowers on this one are very
I thought my brush was clean. I guess it wasn't.
they could be sweet peas, but then I didn't do the right greenery for sweet peas, and that's okay. We don't necessarily need to know where they're going in the watercolor layer because the lines will make everything make sense that we add later. And on this one down here, I was imagining a delphinium type shape, but I don't want to create a delphinium. I want to create blobs of color that, like we said before, give interest and a little bit of shape, but we're mostly playing with color and values. We want darker values, which means more pigment, and we want areas with lighter values, which means more water. And we can have areas where it's pretty much only water,
I'm
and
just.
in other areas of high pigment, we get these nice bleeds and blends. This is the place in the painting where we want to experiment with subtle bleeds and blends, and then we're going to leave everything. We're not going to add anything extra in watercolor. So keep that in mind while you're painting. What do you want to put down here in watercolor? Keep it light because a lot of the darker details will come from the lines that we add later.
So she said keep it light.
Because we are used to painting and filling in a space to create the object, fully painting it, maybe leaving some white space or some areas that are artistic on the ends, but not most of it. But I think it's a really important practice in looseness and leaving things alone. So the goal is going to be to make the fewest strokes possible, to add colors that bleed and blend, and make sure you have differences in values, dark values and the light values, which I've already said. Make sure you have those. It will make your lines that you add later better.
Ah,
So the technique that I use
she said it has a blade. Okay.
coloring is I add really sketchy, loose, blobby shapes to my watercolor paper in watercolor, and I let it completely dry, and then I add my colored pencils over the top. In this case, I will use
Okay. I managed to do one of the little things she did.
really well with watercolor paper. But you can use almost anything. Crayons, like we talked about before, pastels, pen, um, colored pencils, regular pencils. So it's totally up to you. But we want to keep these shapes very loose and liquid, but we can still kind of get an idea of what they look like. Other methods of reverse coloring could be a whole page of colors and blobs of color that are blending and merging together all the different values, the darker pigments and the really watery washes blending together. And you can maybe do a reverse coloring of a landscape. So you have blue shapes in the sky, you have green, yellow, greenish blue shapes for the land, and they're blending together. It's all one one big blob. You have not defined any shapes. And then you can go in and use colored pencils to define bushes and trees and other plants, but you do that based on how it dried. So it's another kind of reverse coloring where it's a little less predictable and you let the watercolor tell you what is there versus this watercolor reverse coloring is a little
She's
bit
used also using different
sketchy
colors
and
like in the
detailed
same thingy, like
what you
pinks and
can do.
purples.
But that's
So
okay. We're just mostly focusing on swipes of color that give us a general idea of the object that we're painting. I love this way to reverse color. I just made a birthday card the other day for my mom with strawberries and blueberries and these raspberries. I think raspberries in reverse coloring are the coolest. And it said, "We love you very much." And I just think using reverse coloring on cards is a great way to make berries, which can be, it's just a berry on a card, which can still look good, but it just makes it cute, really, really cute, and takes it to a very birthday card level. So now that you can see the berries that I painted, I have strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. Me telling you that, you can see it. You can see that those are raspberries, you can see that those are blueberries. But if I had that made and this was the finished piece, you might think,
yeah, she's
blueberries
saying that you could
and
use your
blueberries is
markers
not about
instead of more paint,
raspberries and
basically.
blueberries. It's about maybe kind of a little bit having a raspberry shape, and then we create the magic of the final shape with the lines that we have later. So same with this carrot.
That's
We
what
can
she's
tell it's a
saying.
carrot
I
when
know
it's
what
not
she
a good
means.
carrot. It doesn't have to be a good carrot. We're just kind of blocking in the colors, leaving white space, adding different values, adding different colors, even colors that you wouldn't expect. We are staying pretty fairly true to the actual color of the object with the watercolor process part, but we can go crazy and have so much fun with the colored pencil, oil pastel additions. If you're doing pen, that would be really cool because you can make your pen drawings exact. You can draw an exact carrot over the top of this carrot blob, and then they merge together to make a beautiful piece of art. So instead of starting with the lines like a coloring book, it gives you the lines and you color it in. We are reverse coloring, we are kind of painting in the idea of it and then adding the lines, which I think gives a really sketchy, painterly
Let's
look.
see if this will
And
actually work.
this process of only leaving an idea of a shape can be really tricky, and our brain and our body and our soul just really wants to fill it in all the way. Even on that farther right strawberry, I fill it in too much. That's okay. It will look good still with the lines added over the top. But this is a practice in letting go, letting it be a blob,
She's
just let it
using,
in. If you think
I
it's
love that
it really
one.
is.
That one's
I love
gorgeous.
the colored pencils are where we get to add, or we're taking the time to just have fun, make something weird, make some.
I love it. Yeah, I love that one. Where's the red at? Child, there ain't no red. That don't look like red, but we'll see what happens. I love it when I like the red ones. She's trying to use a color that's very close to what's on the page. I'm like this blue here. I just want what did she do here? She's also adding some other stuff to the things. I'm noticing she's doing that.
All right, this feels
So
awful.
she's like doing
But
stuff
our
like
windows were
this,
so old and just desperately needed to be replaced. So I called a few contractors, but they all quoted
she's
me
adding
over
like
$10,000 or more for new
doing
windows,
with some
and
other
I almost
stuff.
lost it. That's when my friend, who's a realtor, stopped me and said, "If you're a homeowner and your windows are older than 5 years, you might qualify for this new 2025 window
It's still
stimulus."
thunderstorming. So I still feel like she still went over hers darker. I feel like she still did that. Her paint was a little bit darker than mine. Yeah, hers was a little darker over there. Okay, y'all, I had fun experimenting with some things. I wasn't trying to do like a picture to sell. I just want to have fun with the painting. Oh, this guy is painting people here in watercolor.
Here's
This
one way to
one,
paint a reflection using watercolor. So first up, you're going to wet your paper where your reflection is going to be in the water. I like to take a little bit of it off with a paper towel. Then you're going to start using the same exact color.
okay, so they're pre-drawing also some of this
I got
stuff.
a great question. How to know when to do wet into wet or wet into dry? So wet into wet is where you wet the paper first and then add your wet paint on top. Now I do that for the beginning layers, and if I want something.
I like that one, the wet on wet. I'm just looking at some of the heck is she doing?
I'm putting paint down first, and I'm going to use this sponge to really create some soft edges. Then I'm going to dip it in the paint and keep layering on top darker
She's using a sponge. I
darker
like this one right here.
foliage textures, and that's one way.
She said, I'm done with the brush, and she went straight to the sponge.
I love painting watercolor loose, wet in wet, tilting
Ooh.
my paint.
See, now they're going to make me want to do wet on wet.
Well, and on damp paper and using freshly squeezed tubed paint and
I just don't like wasting paint.
wetted.
These people must don't care about how much money they spend on paint. Because this lady's working with crayons, watercolor, everything. I'm looking at the pictures. Oh, this one, she actually does it in paint first and then she draws it in. She draws it in afterwards. That is like so backwards. It's not even funny. So she has to make sure it's dry. There's no way she's using her illustration pens and it ain't dry yet. That stuff would mess up her pen. The water would mess up her pens. Okay. I'm looking at some of the exercises they have. Y'all, I hang out in the art community now because it's like too much talking in the too much talking, unnecessary talking going on in the other genres. Everybody just want to talk about something, society, their family, their job. it's almost like people came out of hiding and now they got a vent. They on a complaining rampage. Trauma running rampant on the streets of YouTube. Like Megamind, evil's running rampant in the streets. I see trauma